Oopsies. I suck. I stink. Okay. Sorry, guys. Perfect! Ah, I love it!
Hey!
Hi. I'm gonna turn commenting off. Sorry, guys. It just is a little distracting. Unless you want comments on. Do you want comments on, or do you care?
Whatever. It's your channel.
No,
Whatever you want to
dude,
do.
it's us. It's all. Do you want to answer? Do you want me to turn it on or leave it off, or you tell me?
You can turn it on.
Okay.
And I can catch questions as we're going. May I help you?
Oh my gosh, I love that. I love it.
They thought their aunt was calling from Vegas to say hello with the baby. So
Where are you? Oh, just gotta wash my hands. Okay. Sorry, Shep wants to be a part of this.
all the children are coming. All the children are coming to be a part of the live.
We may as well make this a reality and not make it too polished, because the reality is it's just the house of chaos. And I mean, we have kids, so you know
Yep.
how it goes. So how are you? How are you this Christmas, this holiday, this December?
We are probably doing the same way that everybody else in America is doing, because all the world is opening up and we're still shut down. Hanging out, trying to find our corners of the house,
Yeah.
where we can get a little bit of peace and quiet.
I feel like I'm ready to pull my hair out.
So everybody, I think, and we have 6 people in the house. My college student came back home early, and he has the basement, and everybody has their space that they go to. So
that's amazing.
We haven't. Nobody's hurt anyone, so we're doing well.
Yeah,
we're
well. About there right now, ready to start injuring each other. So so really fast, everybody, for everyone who's tuning in and watching this video. Natasha is someone that is near and dear to me. I met Natasha. We met about 1.5 years ago through Laura May's at Mom 2.0, and I instantly fell in love. I love Natasha. every time I chat with Natasha, or every time I have a rough day, the first person I text is probably Natasha, and you just are such a light in this world, and I love catching up with you and chatting. And I love picking your brain also about plants and nature and my garden and all things garden oriented as well. And maybe it's your positive attitude that makes your garden so amazing.
We'll say that. We'll go ahead and say that. Well, instead of my freaking stubborn nature of being a firstborn child and seeing things, needing to see things go properly, and then getting immense joy out of seeing something start from a very small seed and then be able to feed a bunch of people. It's really awesome to see folks eat something that you've grown and then be super happy about it too. So yeah.
So what is like?
Come here.
I love that. I have this obsession with it's probably the control freak in me, but I have this obsession about having this relationship to our food and our food sources and where that comes from, and understanding that relationship. I think we're so disconnected from our food source and where our food comes from and how far it travels. And I think there's something so wonderful in growing your own food. Also, plants as well. There are benefits which we can talk about, that are non-edible food or non-edible plants and such. But just knowing where your food's from and having that relationship is just so cool. And I've learned so much from you and from your garden, and We Sow, We Grow. And if you want to just talk a little bit about that, because I really feel like if you're not already following Natasha and We Sow, We Grow, please do, because she is not only a beacon and the shiny bright light that you'll just love. I love your educational videos too, because you'll just find all kinds of fun puns and humor and all kinds of like nuggets that you won't regret, that is so fun and will cheer you up. And also just an education and just a resource for your own garden and inspiration. And if anything, it's Pinterest worthy and fun and cool. And I love following you. So if you want to tell everyone what you're doing, because I just think it's so inspirational and just so cool.
Well, I live in Chicago. I am a native of Chicago, born and raised, and I rep my city hard, if you can't tell from my feed. The farm, we started We Sow We Grow as we wanted to start a community garden, and within a year we realized that that wasn't going to work for where we were. So we turned it into an urban farm that was more of an educational farm for the community, so people could come through and learn how to grow their own food, and then take that back to their houses or their backyards or schools or wherever they worked, and then grow food there without necessarily having to give time and energy to the space that we were growing food in. And it took us about a year and a half, I think, to start using the phrase "we sow, we grow," because we were sowing seeds into our community. We were sowing seeds into folks on the internet who started kind of paying attention to what we were doing, because I was sharing. And it kind of went from there. We officially became a nonprofit last year. And that's so that we can continue teaching folks all over the world. We have a couple members from New Zealand. I know we have someone in France, and we have someone in the Netherlands, Harlem, Netherlands, that are active participants in our group. And we're looking to kind of grow and then get our forever home. So in the city of Chicago, it's kind of hard to do that because of all the red tape. And it's a little bit frustrating because we were going to partner with the city, and then some things came up. So now we're looking to actually buy our own land, which, you know, costs a crap ton of money.
Especially in Chicago, I'm sure.
And it's a lot. So we have to get to a certain level before we can apply for grants and showcase that we have that money. So I have become the connoisseur of fundraising of sorts. And we find all interesting ways to fundraise. So you may see a couple of people out in the wild wearing gear that says "Dirty by Nature," because that's what we say that we do. We get dirty by nature, and those T-shirts, and we can share them in your update when you put the live up. We can share them in the comments to show people where they can go. Or you can go to our Facebook page, or we're here on Instagram, and you can donate there.
I'll link it actually. After this, I can just link it to your site, right?
Yeah, that'll be
I'll
perfect. Yeah. And you can donate via Instagram or Facebook. That money comes directly to us. They do not take any money out of it, so you don't have to worry about it. And hopefully by the time next year is over, we will have our own building where we can hold classes in, and then also Zoom classes and everything. And we did our summit that you participated in this year, so that was fun. It was our very first summit, and it was 3 days jam-packed with things from starting seed to keeping houseplants, and we got good feedback. Yeah, we got good feedback from it, and I'm looking forward to doing it again next year because it's fun. Getting your hands in the soil. Even if you're only growing one plant, it transforms you in a way. And whether it's for you to become sustainable or for you to grieve, I know lots of people start growing because they're grieving and they want to see something, and they want to work their grief out. Some folks do it because it's a project that they decided to take on. We have a bunch of quarantine gardens that came up this year. And then some do it out of necessity because they aren't able to have fresh produce the way that they want it. So they decide to grow their own. And I'm looking out my kitchen window right now at our chickens running amok. And I don't know, we're now down to 7. We had 12.
Same with us.
One walked off the job. She just left and didn't come back. And others were just old, so they passed away. But ours just all had their hard molt, so they looked really straggly.
Yeah.
And now their feathers are back in, so they look magnificent again and fluffy, right. And they're beautiful. And they're not going to lay any eggs. We don't force them to lay eggs for the wintertime. We give them that time off. I don't put a light or anything in. So we go from about December through March with no eggs. So we have to go back to the grocery store.
True. I have a light in ours, but it's just to heat them. Should I not?
No, you can. That is fine. We have weather hardy birds. It's all what your preference is. We just choose to not do any of that, and we make sure that their coop is insulated well enough, and that we don't have it too warm in there, because in Chicago, if it's too warm and they get cold, they'll get frostbite on their combs and their feet. So we just make sure that no snow can get in their coop and that they're warm. And they take 3 months off. So they get a 3-month vacation from having to provide eggs for us.
I love that. And I also think what's so great about that is that you're learning the cycle of nature, which we all take it for granted. And I love knowing those little details, because we want eggs, we want bananas, we want, grapes. They're not in season, but they're sure big and beautiful at the grocery store. So it's and there's nothing wrong with that, but I think just knowing and understanding that, and then living it like you're doing, and then teaching others how to do that, I feel like it at least is empowering, so that you understand and are making decisions based off of that knowledge. I love it. I'm a nerd for that.
Yeah. Do you want to answer some of the questions that we got from you yesterday, I think?
Sure.
Okay. A couple of them are some really deep questions, and I wish that I was smart enough to provide it. One of my favorite ones was, the best way to do better is people. And it's honestly to know that everybody is at some point in their life where kindness may be the difference between, the kindness being spread properly, or them being completely and a total jerk to somebody else as they're going on their day. So always choose kindness, no matter how much or how much you think folks deserve the opposite. Always choose kindness. That was one of my ones. And something that I've had to tell myself often this year with people, you want to always choose to be nicer to folks. And someone is also interested in how in the world I take care of plants in Chicago. So our season ends about the middle of November. And then we will start our seeds at the end of next month, because we have such a short growing season. We don't live south of the Mason-Dixon line, so we don't get an extended one. And we can't grow all year long unless I'm growing inside with aquaponics or hydroponics or grow lights. And we choose not to do that because it's really hard on our electric bill. Mm-hmm. And in order to grow that much food to rival what we grow on the farm, it would be horrible, and my husband would probably leave me. So we cut out any growing in November. But if I want fresh herbs, I will grow in mason jars in the windowsill. And that's the easiest way to do. So if you want basil or parsley or rosemary, you can do in those wide mouth mason jars. I'm trying to find one. I haven't set mine up just yet. But that's a good way to do it. And you can get some that's already started. If you don't feel like growing from seed, you can get some that's already started, plant it for yourself, and then have something to pull from all winter long. And you kind of feel like you're still bringing your garden in with you.
Would you do me a Will you go grab that big mushroom that we have downstairs? That one.
What else? Why did I start We Sow We Grow?
Just so much. Look at it.
I started the nonprofit because I realized that so many people needed access to places to come and still feel like part of a community without having to feel like it was a handout of any sorts, or if it was charity. I didn't want anybody feeling that way. I wanted them to be able to come and learn. Be able to come and learn and have fun. Do you like gardening with your mom? Yeah. And I found out too that the kids in the neighborhoods are the ones that pull everybody. Yeah.
He's really good with succulents. I'm not, but
my favorite.
I take care of my sisters.
Do you? One thing I've noticed that can't be killed.
You taking over?
Are snake plants.
Oh, wait, what is that?
This is a snake plant.
Oh, I thought you said fig. I was like, that doesn't look like my
No,
fig.
a snake plant, and it's pretty thick. The leaves are pretty thick, and these are very hard to mess up.
A good one for us.
Yeah. So you don't need them in direct light. You don't need to water them often, and they're gorgeous. So
Yeah, they're
you
really
can get
pretty.
some
The
that
color
are,
is vibrant.
yeah,
That hurts
that
my.
are variated and have fun with it. We also have a monstera that I'm still learning
A what?
about.
A
A
Madeira?
monstera plant. They're called the Swiss cheese plants. So their leaves often
Oh,
have
yeah,
holes
yeah,
in
yeah.
them. Yeah, so we just had to repot one of those. I am not the guru on that though. My friend Lucretia Braxton is, and she's at Soul Sister Plants. She is fabulous with indoor plants, and I'm your girl with edible plants and everything. But that's what I do for the wintertime. I pay attention to the plants that I tend to ignore during the season, the farming season. And a lot of people ask about growing without a yard if they don't have a yard. Containers are really good for that, especially bags.
Mm-hmm.
The
They
grow
have some
bags,
great ones.
yeah, and grow bags will also make sure that you never ever overwater because any extra water that they don't need will leach out, and you don't have to worry about root rot or drowning your plants through the roots. And they can sit on your porch as your porch or your deck or wherever you want to put them and be just fine. And they're just as good as growing in raised beds or in the ground. And you can
Yeah,
grow potatoes in them, which is something
that's
that you
true.
can't really do all the time with other things. So those are about, I think overall, those are the gist of the questions that we got for them. Oh, and homeschooling and traveling, we just road school. We just take school with us. That's all we do. It's nothing. There's no. I'm not a genius teacher at all. And we learn about what we love, and then we learn the stuff that we need to math, reading, writing. But we learn about what we love, and then they do their own research projects and all of that other stuff, or ask me a question, and then it sends us down a rabbit hole, and that's how we do it.
Yeah,
That's how we
I
do
think
it.
also discussion. I think
Yes.
that's so helpful. I feel like, especially now, I'm learning. Like, it seems like, now that all of our kids are home and we're having to deal with parenting them from. Sorry, Sheppy's bringing in our mushrooms that we're growing. Oh, that's not a mushroom. Those are Fruit Loops. I'm called out. Jared and I just had a big discussion about, hey, we need to, really eat from our garden, be really careful, and be really mindful. He brings home. Show Natasha what Daddy brought home last night. Yeah, go show Natasha the box.
It looks like a Sam's Club or a Costco
A
type.
giant size box.
I can't even be mad at Jared because we are kind of fans of honeycomb.
Oh
Like
yeah, honeycombs are delicious too.
when you have a craving, it's not bad to give into it, just not all the time.
No, I
Not all.
feel you. I know, but I was like, really? We just talked about this, and what are you bringing home? Meanwhile, I have a box of mushrooms. This is lion's mane that I'm attempting to grow, and I think I'm doing it badly, but this is High Five Myco, which I've been posting about a lot. I subscribe to an organization here. You can have it called Farmhouse Delivery because I'm still a novice gardener, and obviously, I can't completely live off the land. I would like to. I'm not there yet, but anyway, so Farmhouse is all locally grown and helps supplement my garden, and I cannot grow. So one of the things is they partnered with Hi-Fi Myco, which is fabulous. I love eating mushrooms. And
Lion's mane mushrooms are really good too.
So
They're really good.
Yeah, I the other day I put them in the oven and just roasted them with a little bit of avocado oil, and then I also did one recently where it was like this red wine sauce with vinegar, and anyways, there's lots of different ways, and it's delicious. You're making a big noise over there, mister. And I actually have my book on healing mushrooms for anyone that wants to know more about it. But Yeah, I just love chatting about food and food deserts and food sources and where it's from and can we grow and just having this relationship. And a lot of it is, I don't know if you felt like this in the beginning, but I failed a lot. And I still fail. Like there's broccoli that's like this big outside that's been growing for like 2 months. And I'm like, what am I doing wrong?
I think one of the best things that I heard when I first decided that this was going to be the journey that I was going to be on was that farming and gardening is the greatest game of poker that you'll ever play. And I have never played poker before, believe it or not.
Really?
But
I maybe played it once.
I hear that I have a pretty good poker face when it comes to it. And you'll always know that what worked for you the season before may not work for you the upcoming season. Or something that you failed at last season may not you won't fail at.
Or one bed might have done really well one year, and then the next year it's
because we grew pumpkins. We grew pumpkins this year, finally. And last year we tried growing them, and the squash vine borers got to them, and I did not know how to prevent that. So
I remember those posts.
Yeah. So I did surgery on our plants this year, and the surgery is very interesting. Like if you are afraid of beetle larvae, it is probably not the best thing for you to do. But you can see a video of me actually slicing the plant and then pulling out all of the larvae and then putting soil back over it. And they gave us pumpkins and zucchini all season long. So it was
from just repurposing, like having a compost in the.
Well, from making sure that I caught them early, because a lot of times, prevention, and we try not to spray anything,
Do you use neem oil or anything like that?
We use BT, which is a type of, I hate calling it a pesticide because it's a naturally occurring pesticide, and it interacts with one of the chromosomes of things like squash vine borers and cabbage worms. So it will kill
cabbage
those.
worms are the worst.
They are. They're hideous. Our chickens love them, so we give them to the chickens. So we do a lot of picking off and everything, which larger farms can't do. But what BT does, or neem oil, is it interacts with things that irritates them, and if they consume it, they'll die and they won't lay any more eggs. But it won't mess with bees. It won't mess with any of your butterflies. It won't. All of the beneficial animals that we have in the garden, it won't bother. Praying mantises can be good. If you see a lot of grasshoppers on your farm, that's not good. I know that they look awesome. They are horrible because they will eat everything of yours. So we learn a lot of stuff like that, and we've also learned not to allow our chickens to roam because they will eat everything as well.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it looks beautiful in a Martha Stewart catalog, but it certainly is not reality.
Right. Not at all. Not at all.
One time I went to this like cave and at the end I saw this like green, like this rainbow cricket.
You saw a cricket? Was it making a lot of noise?
No, it was at daytime and it was like rainbow.
Oh, pretty interesting. I don't know how we would react to a rainbow cricket on the farm. And it wouldn't do well. They wouldn't live very long with our chickens around. Because our chickens...
Yeah, we give all of the crickets to our chickens, too.
Yeah.
We give the brown ones to them.
Mm-hmm.
Have you gotten tomato hornworms before, too?
No.
No. We haven't? We've gotten a lot of slugs lately and a lot of...
you mean...
Something on our...
Larvae?
On our kale. It's larvae, but I think it's like from caterpillars or something when all the monarchs came in.
If they're little tiny green worms, those are probably the cabbage worms. Tomato hornworms they can get to about 4 inches.
Thank God.
So if you haven't gotten those, and they feel like velvet when you pick them off. They feel like velvet.
I love that. Did you know that? It felt like velvet when you touch them.
What's velvet?
It's like, that soft. It's like unclothed, kind of like this corduroy, sort of like that, like super soft.
Someone else said they've had tomato hornworms, and those things can ruin a tomato plant in like a day.
Yeah.
They can eat all. So our chickens are very happy during the summertime because they get a lot of protein.
Yeah.
And then we're happy because we're not putting stuff on the plants, and we can pick. But it can be a little bit cumbersome to have to pick from that many things.
It's kind of therapeutic though. I mean, as long as it's manageable, it's like super therapeutic. And also what we love to do is when we go through the soil, and when we're just like tilling the soil and like adding whatever fertilizer, we like to hunt for it. Do you remember what they're called?
Larvas?
No, those giant
grubs.
Oh, they're like this big, and they're
like this big.
I think
with the black heads, they're white. They're typically white with the black heads.
Ours have like, I feel like orange heads, don't they?
Yeah.
Someone told me
they have orange heads and then white bodies.
I don't know if it's true. I don't think they're from a rhinoceros beetle, but I looked.
Never.
It couldn't have been. But we've had rhinoceros beetles around too. Anyways, they're giant, and we give those to chickens. I think because they might wreak havoc on the roots or something.
They do. They do. And they also our grubs are typically Japanese beetles and the squash vine borers. So that's what we have up north. If we saw a rhinoceros beetle, I think we would probably attempt to keep it, maybe.
Oh, they're so cool looking.
But they probably wouldn't live.
I have this who would win book.
You have a wind book?
Who would win? And there's, rhinos and hippopotamuses. They're like some kind of bug in there.
Okay. Are you being shy? Where do you source your seeds from? Are you particular with where you get your seeds?
I not particular as far as space, but what they offer. So we like to grow things that you wouldn't often see in the grocery store. So we've sourced from Johnny Seeds.
Oh, right. I remember you saying
from Baker Creek Seeds. We've sourced from Botanical Interest. Essentially any place where I can get sun sugars and sun gold tomatoes, and then really interesting varieties of things that we would normally grow. We also have a large.
Deb wants to show you his bug.
Oh, that is massive. Yep, that's the rhinoceros beetle right there. We have a greenhouse that is in southern Illinois that we'll go to that will start the plants for us if we can't get them because we don't have enough time or space. And we'll go from there. Now, one thing that I love to tell people, because they're like, well, you buy GMO seed, and I'm like, I can't. I'm not a large enough space, and home growers can never, ever buy GMO. You can't buy GMO at all. So you don't ever have to worry about your seed being non-GMO when it's offered to you, because they cannot sell to home growers. So that's one of the things. Yep. That's one of the things that you never ever have to worry about.
So
and then
you're going to Walmart and Home Depot to some fancy,
not GMO.
It doesn't matter.
Nothing there is GMO. They can't sell it.
That's so great to know.
Yeah, they can't sell it. So you don't ever have to worry about that. And then people who see things like hybrid, that just means that pollen from one plant was crossed with, and if you think of it as, I know this is going to sound very, very rudimentary. If you think of it as plants mating, that's what gets you. So the same way we're hybrids, that means that that's what they did with the plants. And then heirlooms means that it's true to form. So if you take the seed from that plant or from that fruit that you've grown and plant it again next season, you'll get that same variety. Hybrids won't give you that. So if you plant a hybrid seed, more often than not, you're going to get a vegetable or fruit variety that showcases one gene over another. And it's kind of neat. It'll still grow. It just won't grow true to type from what you got it from.
That makes sense. I have 2 different apple trees that we've just planted. So I'm guessing that they will be a hybrid if we were to get the seeds or whatever, correct?
Yeah.
Mama,
I'm still learning. Yes,
do
baby.
you think I could take on a Tasmanian tiger?
I don't know. Jeff wants to know if he can take on a Tasmanian tiger. What do you recommend if you live in an apartment? Sorry, someone's just asking. That's a good question. Like, if you don't have a patio or a yard, you were saying herbs and like mason jars and such. What about, you know what I did that it's a little pricey to be honest, but I did one of those arrow gardens.
Yeah.
I think they're like $150, so it is a little expensive, but it does have the grow light and it does grow. We had a pretty good yield. I forget what we were growing, maybe basil, and then we did one with a fish at the bottom too, but I just couldn't get myself to eat it at the end because
really,
yes, it just.
You mean you couldn't eat the vegetables or you couldn't eat the fish?
Well, I wouldn't eat the fish. It was a fighting fish. What are they called? The
betas? Okay, because I know some people do it with tilapia, and they'll. But
you
I know
can't have
tilapia,
that in your kitchen.
It depends on if you have a good enough setup. Some people will do a setup where they have a big tank and they will, because tilapia doesn't grow very large. I don't know anything about tilapia. I'm not an expert in this, so you all do not get mad at me. I'm just telling you the way that it works. So
why don't we test it?
So the poop from the tilapia fertilizes all of, so you don't have to have soil or anything.
Yeah.
And then
it's like the little
plants,
rocks and stuff.
And then the plants give back to the tilapia. So it's a nice
super cool symbiotic relationship that's going on, and you really get to watch nature in its true form. It's pretty wild.
Yeah. So we as far as an apartment, I know the garden. There's a garden tower that a lot of my people
lettuce grow.
use. Yep. And that has, I think, 30-something different spots where you can grow things.
Yeah.
And as long as you have a window that is either southern or eastern facing, where you can get sunlight for about 6 hours a day, you should be able to do a great.
And now I think they even sell the lights for it. So if you wanted to get a little bit more aggressive with it, or if you don't have the lighting, apparently I think you can get the artificial lights to help.
Yep. And lights are sold at your garden center, your neighborhood garden center. You can also order them online from those places like Johnny Seeds or Baker Creek Seeds. And if that is absolutely a little bit too expensive, and we realize we're not shaming anybody for where they have to shop, Amazon is always a great source too, to go to. I know we try not to give them money because they are a super whatever, but that is people.
I just don't like the packaging that's like you buy something this big and
you get the massive box and you're just like, what the heck am I supposed to do?
That's where I want to rip my hair out and go like, you guys are so smart. Please, come on.
What am I supposed to do with
it? Let's be a little bit better. So no, we're kind of running out of time, but I have some questions for you. So for me, this whole holiday, sustain your holidays for me really comes from about like this next year, I really want to make a better impact, and I want to do that environmentally. I love the environment, I love nature, and that to me is my heart. And what I've realized in talking with friends, Charlie Capon, my husband, my kids, my family, friends, is that Green for All was actually really helpful and instrumental in realizing that it's not about attacking environmentalism from the outside in. Like, I'm going to get rid of emissions and I'm going to like plant trees. Those things are so important and we have to do that. But I kind of learned that we got to start from the inside out in a way.
Right.
And that's one, incremental changes within ourselves, but also in our habits, but also it's kind of like, I'm discovering it's like putting the oxygen mask on first. So what are those things that sustain us? What are those things that make us feel whole and good and worthy? And for me, I love to read. I love to do yoga and meditate. I love my garden. I love getting my hands dirty. There's actually evidence that you want to get your hands dirty. It's really good for your body and your whole immunity. So that for me, that's where this all started, and chatting with you, this is part of this journey, and encouraging others to do these incremental changes and in different ways, because everyone's tolerance is different and capacity.
Right.
So for you, We are talking about plants right now. Shep really wants to talk about plants, which we'll get to. But Natasha, what are those things that sustain you? Like, what are the things that make you feel good and that you that I guess are just good for you, that make you, that sustain you?
So the farming is one. And mine started because I actually wanted to feel closer to what the people who brought me here, who were responsible for me being here, did. And as a little girl, I had an aunt in Mississippi who had a farm, and we often consumed things from her farm for dinner after a couple of weeks watching them walk around. And it didn't have a horrible impact on me. I was just so amazed that she could be somewhere without having to go to the grocery store, and without having to rely on other people bringing her things for stuff. And it was one of the reasons that I enjoyed doing all of that. And then my grandmother, my mom's mom, had a kitchen garden. And she always made fun of me. She's like, "You're the only little person that I know who will volunteer to go and pick from the kitchen garden from me." And they don't think it's a chore at all. So we would pick okra and her tomatoes and her beans, and I would help her snap her beans for dinner for us. So for me, it's feeling closer to my family and my roots,
Yeah.
and being a little bit closer to all of these people who are no longer here. And if we talk about things that aren't gardening or farming, I really, really enjoy still the art of letter writing. There's something so amazing to me about sitting down and writing letters and getting letters, and knowing that somebody took 15 or 20 minutes of their day and they were only focused on telling me a little bit about whatever was going on at that time. And a couple months ago, my mom found a tin, those tins that you get like popcorn in from Chicago. I have all of the letters that I got from my husband when we were dating in high school. So all of those letters are in there. The letters from my sister who passed away in 2002 from when I was in college. She used to write me. My Granny Blackburn who passed away. So I have all of those. And it's just really good and fun to go through and read them and remember where we were at that time. But, I'm still like right now, I have my letter writing. I currently have my stamps ready.
I love it.
And then I'm sitting here with cards to send out to people, just because even if it wasn't 2020, people just enjoy receiving little bits of good in the mail. And, without them having to buy it for themselves, it's nice to come home from work or wherever you're coming home from, check your mailbox and see that it's not just full of bills or pluggers or whatever, and you get something from somebody. It's like a kiss through the mail. And that's what fills me up. I have not had enough time to read this year, and I'm really sad about that, but we're finding ways to stay up and relatively happy. And those are two ways that I can do it. The writing is really big for me.
Yeah, I think that's so beautiful. It's so tactile, and it's so nice to be able to hold something in your hand and take that, like you said, take that moment. Like, hey, I'm thinking about you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna, send this and surprise someone. I love that. That's awesome. Well, I just adore you, and I'm so grateful to be able to sit here across from you and learn so much from you. And thank you for sharing so much. And again, I will be linking.
Wait, you're leaving?
Yeah.
Already?
Do you want to say something? You're more than welcome. Now's your moment, but you got to go now.
No.
Okay, you have 2 minutes. Quick. Otherwise, I got to hang up. Do you want to say anything about plants or growing and what you love about it? Quick. You're on the spot.
I love the plant.
You love to plant?
Well, when I come down and visit, we're gonna have to plant some stuff together. And then when you all come up to Chicago, we'll have to make sure that you get to walk around with my kids in their raised bed.
Love it. That would be such an honor, and we would love to do that, especially as a family. I know that your garden is so inspiring and what you do is so cool. And
Thank you.
I love it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And so again, I will be linking Dirty by Nature, your site, after the live. So look for stories and look for Natasha Nicholes, or We Sow We Grow, and follow along. And
we want everybody to be easy. The holidays don't have to be stressful. I know that people want it to be. But lean into it and remember it's all about family and having fun. Go bake some cupcakes or some cookies too.
Yeah.
That would be good.
Exactly. Indulge. Have fun.
Okay.
All right. I'll see you soon.
Talk to you later. Love you, Jen.
Love you too.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, ready? Let's see if I can do this properly.